Welcome to Have an IPA with a CPA. We're here to share ideas to help you and your business make more money and keep more of the money you make. Hi, I'm Robin Pye.
And I'm Paul Mueller. Robin and I are CPAs and owners of Mueller Pye & Associates with offices in Northern Colorado and Katy, Texas. Today's topic is about obtaining an extension of your tax return. We're in the midst of busy season right now, so this is a very pertinent topic for many of our clients.
Right, so we hope you'll find it useful too. But first, let's talk about beer.
Let's talk about beer.
All right.
We're at Grimm Brothers Brew House in their barrel room in Loveland, Colorado. Grimm Brothers was the original craft brewery in Loveland, and the beer we have today is a relatively new beer they've rolled out called Mountain Lager. Okay. It's a traditional lager, a little lower on alcohol content than you see with most craft beers, and you could almost consider it to be maybe a gateway beer to getting into the whole craft beer.
So easy drinking.
Easy drinking.
So let's give it a taste. That might be my favorite.
That might be really good after you've been on the slopes all day, and a nice refreshing way to end the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So Paul, what is an extension? What do you mean when you say obtain an extension?
Okay, so the IRS has established arbitrary due dates for all types of tax returns. The most famous due date of all is
April 15th, tax day.
Every person above the age of 16 knows April 15th is tax day. So they've set up these original due dates, but they know that people can't always get all their information together and gather it all in time to file a return. And so they've also established extended due dates. And so all somebody has to do is request an extension before that first due date in order to kick the can down the road and get a few extra months to actually put the tax return together. And then also a lot of states who have income taxes also piggyback on the IRS extension. So once you file the IRS extension, in many cases, that also extends the state tax return too.
Okay, all right. So why would someone obtain an extension? Why file an extension?
So in many cases, the extension allows 6 more months to file the return, and that's important for people that, again, need to gather their information. Maybe they're invested in an activity that hasn't reported to them yet, a net profit or loss, and they need to get that information. It's also important to avoid mistakes just to meet that arbitrary April 15th deadline. So buy yourself some time and get it right the first time.
Because if you don't get it right the first time, you might be filing an amendment.
You might be filing an amended return, or the IRS catches the mistake, and that might cost people some tax and interest and penalty. So the IRS would rather you do it right than do it fast. So the other reason for an extension is there are late filing penalties if you don't file your return by April 15th for a personal return. If you don't get that extension, that penalty is 5% per month of the tax you owe.
Ouch.
Up to a maximum of 25%. That gets to be a huge amount to pay extra just for being late. If you file the extension, though, on time, it reduces that penalty by 90%, so that the penalty is only 0.5% per month until you actually file the return.
So if you don't file an extension, you file late, 5% per month.
Right.
If you file an extension but don't pay everything, a 0.5%
0.5% per month, which is pretty,
significant difference.
That's much better than credit card rates. One of the real good reasons for filing an extension is it extends the time for making certain contributions to retirement plans. Now, this doesn't apply to IRAs and health savings accounts. Those have to be funded by April 15th for an individual. But if you're in a SEP IRA or a 401k or just a traditional profit sharing plan, that extension gives the taxpayer that much more time to cobble that money together. And usually it's a pretty sizable amount we're telling people at the last minute to make. So having that extra 6 months can help with budgets and cash flow and still get the deduction on that tax return.
And if you're anticipating receiving a refund, you can go ahead and file an extension. You can wait and obtain your refund and use that money to fund a SEP.
A retirement plan.
Yeah.
It's a great way to leverage that refund. Yeah,
Sure.
It's a great strategy.
Yeah, so any concerns with an extension, because we always get the question, is that an IRS audit trigger?
Is that a red flag? Am I going to get audited because I filed an extension? Well, first of all, millions of people file extensions, so the answer is no. But, back in the old days when I was practicing in the 70s, and that was way before you were even born, you had armies of people at these IRS service centers processing those returns by hand. So maybe the extension was a little check mark in the file. But today, we have computers that are processing all those returns, and computers don't get tired. Computers aren't picky. The IRS is more interested in what is inside the tax return as opposed to when it was filed. So it does not heighten your chance for an audit.
But the extension of time to file is not an extension of time to pay. Well,
yes and no. So no, if you don't file a return and you owe money, then the IRS doesn't know you owe money. So to some extent, maybe it is an extension to pay. But yes, it doesn't allow you to pay because you are going to pay interest and penalty on any amount you owe after April 15th. So yes and no. The important thing is if you get an extension, pay what you can.
Yeah. All right. So tell us how to file an extension.
Oh, so the way to file an extension, first of all, it's automatic. As long as you request the extension, it's done. You're there. There's no signature needed on it. It's just a simple procedure, and you can either file the extension by paper. There is a little coupon form that you can file. Most people do it electronically and get it on record. The IRS asks that if you do owe money that you disclose a good faith estimate on the extension of what you owe, whether you can pay it or not. But again, we encourage folks to pay as much as they can to cut down the penalty and interest that's building up on that particular liability.
So do you receive confirmation from the IRS that your extension's been accepted, or do you receive any sort of...
You don't receive any acknowledgement.
Okay.
The only acknowledgement that the IRS provides is for folks that are filing reports for retirement plans. There is an annual form 5500. For some reason, the IRS does send back an acknowledgement that they received.
Still stamp them and send them back.
And send them back, but with all the other extensions, no. Now, the taxpayers could go online and they can create an online account. They could view their account to see if there's been a little indicator on their file that says extension accepted.
But probably the best thing is just file it electronically. And then you have record of that.
And we have a record of that for our particular clients.
Right, right.
Okay.
All right. Well, this has been hugely helpful. I hope that you found it useful as well. Be sure to send us an email with comments, questions, or suggestions for future topics, and check out our Have an IPA with a CPA YouTube channel for additional topics and ideas. Until next time,
Prost.